April 14, 2024 will make it 10 years since the first mass school abduction took place in Nigeria. On that day, 278 students of Government Girls Secondary School Chibok in Borno South were sensationally hauled into captivity. Now, after 10 years of manhunt and expensive military campaign, over 100 of them still remain unaccounted for. On Thursday, March 7, 2024, Nigeria hit a new record high. About 280 students of Government Secondary School Kuriga in Kaduna State, Nigeria were abducted by bandits. Though some managed to escape, over 200 women from a refugee camp in Gamboru-Ngala, Borno State, were whisked away also by Boko Haram terrorists. Let's not also forget the Dapchi abductions in Yobe State and Zamfara kidnappings. The list goes on, it is endless. Food for thought, we wine and dine on this on Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue over the kidnappings and abduction cycles in Nigeria. It's time we ask ourselves searching questions. I'm Odiawa AI, and the show is Viewpoint, like I said earlier, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. You will do well to subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow us across various social media platforms. I have my two IC with me on the show.
I'm Favour Aya. Do well to subscribe to all our social media platforms. Join us on the next phase of the show.
Now, people, it's been this cycle of abductions, incessant abductions at that. And the cycle has been so rampant, it has been on a lighter note. It started from the Middle Belt. Now it's been an incursion now from territorial incursions, let me put it that way, particularly from Niger, Chad, just to mention a few. Some have termed it as jihadist movement. Some have termed it or quantified or qualified it as some kind of sort of should I say, invasion just to destabilize the administration so that there can be a hostile takeover, particularly from Boko Haram, which is an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. We have Al-Shabaab in Eastern Africa, but Boko Haram, as we speak now, is dominant in West Africa, which we are basing on. Now, we have a rival terrorist group now, ISWAP, Islamic States of West African Province. Now, they have actually institutionalized their dominance with the recent rampant abductions. Now, is it a competition? Why? Because we can see now that there's a new record high. Chibok girls over just 200 to be exact. Now we see almost 278. Now that's the exact figure now, which is making the rounds on the news now. Is there this conflicting competition or whatever between both platforms to destabilize the country?
Boko Haram and
ISWAP, yes.
I don't want to talk about the two. I just think it is the outcome of bad governance. When you are not doing well, that's when you get the likes of Boko Haram and ISWAP. They are now even trying to put up a challenge on who will go first to take over the country. It is not their fault, sorry to say. It is the fault of bad governance, because if something was done to the case of Boko Haram, ISWAP would have thought twice before joining the league. So it is not their fault that they saw a chance, an open field, an open application to fill in and come in. You get me? Because if something was done to Boko Haram when they started and they were followed up with that hit, ISWAP wouldn't have thought of joining in. But because the government, they were just less, they are waiting for when there is an abduction. You don't try to double up and get them before they do anything. You wait until they keep taking over, adopt 50, adopt 52, do so. That's when you only act. It shows how dormant the security agency is, and that's why ISWAP came in order to know if they can also get an opportunity, just like Boko Haram did. So it now looks like a competition.
Okay, that's a video of a woman wailing now. If I can have that video now coming up now, we could see some wailing woman. Apparently her children seem to have been among the abductees, let me put it that way. Now, information making the rounds is that these abductors actually stormed the region or the primary school, let me put it that way, before the children even came to. We could see footage from the school in question now, and the security agencies who are just arrived particularly after the abduction
After.
has taken place. Now, is it a question of intel not getting to our security agencies in time because of ineffectiveness or one lapse or the other? Another question now is whether or not there are bad eggs within the military cycle.
It will amaze you how these people came in comfort and left in comfort, because I heard, or from what you said, you mentioned that they came even before the school children arrived, so they were sitting comfortably and waiting for them. Nobody saw them coming in. Like a thief, a criminal was waiting for you when you come back. That shows how comfortable they are within the local. And they going out, you won't tell me that there are no checkpoints at any, like they just came in, went out. Is the place is so free, no security whatsoever. So if there's an alleged collusion between them and security agencies, I will not doubt that. I will not doubt that, because of how free and how easy it was for them to adopt those kids and go away without any intervention.
No doubt about the fact that security agencies are actually doing well, right? Particularly the Nigerian army, which is on land, the Air Force, which has to hover around the airspace. Now, my question now is, are they adequately furnished or equipped with gadgets to tackle these insurgencies, this banditry, which is now like culminating into jihadism?
Oh, I can't say they are really doing well. Like, I'll give them that credit. They are trying. They are trying, but they are not doing, because we have seen some loopholes. Like the case of the last Christmas, I think it's Malut celebration, where they went over, like they were pursuing some bandits and then they killed the locals. I won't give them credit on that. And it even took them time to come out to the public and give an explanation, or what I would call an apology. It took them time to do that. So there are so many places that they still have to measure up. They are trying their best, no doubt, but then you can't be pursuing bandits and then you are killing the innocent people. It doesn't make sense to me in any way. So I will say that yes, they are doing well, but then they also have to advance in technology. There are ways that you have to do this, that you have to track, like you track these people, you put surveillance. You won't even put so much energy and effort. You can sit back in the comfort of your office and be looking at their movement, and you track them instead of going over to go and bomb villages, because you assume that they are this particular area. So their effort is acknowledged, but it needs to level up.
Or is our government actually helping the security agencies to be more enlightened concerning these gadgets? Take, for instance, now in the US, now they sit in the comfort of their bases in the US and wire a drone to an Afghanistan camp, particularly when there has been an extraction zone, when they've rescued a particular kidnapped victim or abductee.
Yeah.
Now, the question now is, are we well enlightened? Are security agencies well enlightened? Now, it doesn't end with the Nigerian Army or the Nigerian Air Force. The Immigration Service also. What are the checks in place in our porous borders from these people from Niger, Chad, or even Mali coming in? That's another question now. How well equipped are these people? How well enlightened are they concerning use? Because ordinarily the elections now, as we speak now, electoral officials don't even know how to handle the BVAs. So now, how enlightened now are security agencies now concerning these gadgets? They only know how to cock the gun and shoot and pull the trigger. But when it comes to digitalization of military warfare, I think they tend to lag in that.
My one comment to this is that if they want to do it, they will do it. Because if the presidency can afford a yacht that expensive, they can actually invest in technologies that will help boost security. So if they want to do it, if they actually want to do it, they will do it, because we are much more higher than that.
Okay, so that means our security, that's now boils down to our security agencies actually trying. Kudos to them, no doubt about that. So evidently we can't say that there are good eggs and there are bad eggs. Maybe we'll hear from what Grace has to say concerning this Kaduna incident, because I believe she has some reports.
Yeah, good morning, Favor and Odiawa. Talking about the recent abduction, the kidnapping issue that happened in Kaduna State, Kongera precised. It was just around this time, kids went to school in the morning, as the traditional manners in Nigeria schools gathered themselves for assembly. And it was during this assembly that these gunmen surrounded the school. And we are talking about kids around age of 7 to 14 or thereabouts, and literally banded these kids away. Some of their parents and some vigilantes working in the community saw them when they were taking these kids away. I learned one of the vigilante attempted to attack them, but unfortunately, he was end up killed. It's unfortunate that what happened 2014 repeated itself. To me, there is no accountability in security system, because the ease with which adoption took place, that kidnapping took place, just as it happened 2014 in the era of Chibok girls. You can see how insensitive the Nigeria's security agency is. In simple terms, there is no ability to deny the enemies, no fence construction. We still don't have anti-kidnap framework in this country. We don't have life of innocent children that went to school to go and learn formal educations are at stake. No assurance that when your child go out there is assurance of him or her coming back to you in safe hand. And we say there is gaps in the security agency. I'm bothered today how we can get these pupils whom I know, the brothers, the sisters, father, mothers, and other of their family relations will not be at peace. This moment, and how things will not be all right even in the community that this kidnap or abduction took place. Even the school, how desolate that it will be presently. How will they be back home safely? That should be the first priority of all Nigerians now, because we don't know who is next. To me, the job of FRSC is outdated, and some parliamentary organizations should be co-opted, retained, and merged as police force, because I don't see anything they are doing. So let them merge all of these so-called security agencies for them to be able to work hand in hand and fight this insecurity that have been happening over 10 years now. The way we have been battling with insecurity in Nigeria, it's time for Nigeria to have technical and technological instruments to fight security and able to find where these bandits hide. I just hope these stories will not end up in the news timeline. That is not just as it happened with the life of the Chibok girls. Presently, those children, some of them are still there. Imagine Kaduna, where the military headquarters is located. Children don't even go to school and come back to their parents safe. And the governor, I was listening to the governor speech. The governor was saying, funny enough, the governor said, under my able leadership. What able leadership are you saying? When children's life is at stake, then you are talking about your able leadership that could not protect the safety of a child that went to school. Until we stop chasing, until we stop chasing shadows and face reality, the problem will remain. Let's not forget, Nigeria doesn't even manufacture arms or hard drugs. A journalist recently raised alarm about the Nigeria customs, that anything can come in if you meet the right people and pay the right sums or bribe. Yet the governor turns a blind eye. We don't have anything that is called forest guard, because it's obviously the bandits or these monsters are in our forests, around the communities and cities, and we don't have forest guards.
Now, going over to Akpabio's statement, if we can see that image now coming up, he was actually stating this issue of He was actually stating that the chief executive, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has actually curbed insecurity. But with what we are saying now, the episode of the Kuriga incident was just within the time frame of when the other incident happened in Borno again. Now, can we fall back on this statement and say Akpabio is actually making
no,
a
they
just
actually
statement?
take Nigerians
Or his
are kids. They make caricature of us. They think that this is a comedy stage and they, the comedians, they can come up and saying it now, we laugh about it, because what he said is actually the exact opposites. The height of insecurity in this present administration, I can't even fathom it. Do you know the worst part of it? Earlier this year, January, we saw when 5 sisters were adopted right in Abuja. I don't know if you get it. Like, this is the capital of the country, right in the mouth of the FCT. 5 sisters were, and this is just one of the several kidnapping cases that happened in Abuja that January. And people were like, if something like this can get to the country's capital, then the rest of us, they can just take us anytime. So he coming to tell us that that they've been addressing security, and it's just like making a joke of us. We don't know anything, and we're not seeing things.
Well, actually, I think I tend to key into your statement. Why? Because they sit in the comfort of their homes or luxury of their environments, and
With
they
their
seem not
expensive SUVs
and yachts. Let me put it that way. And they seem not to know what these people are actually facing at the bottom. Now, information making the rounds from news reports, particularly from the BBC, just to mention a few, is that no one is yet to claim responsibility for the abductions of these 278 girls. But for the other 61 who have actually been rescued, an offshoot of Boko Haram has actually claimed responsibility. Now, we want to focus on 3 things. Now, we're talking about the 600 and something thousand, which was demanded for ransom for these 270 something girls. Does it make sense? Another question now is, where will they get that money? Will the government be right to negotiate with terrorists? Then another question now is, let's proceed and start with this figure now.
Okay. I think that this is one of the best decisions that the administration has made so far, not agreeing to pay a ransom. Yes, because a government agreeing to pay a ransom to abductors, kidnappers, terrorists is a kind of, you're sponsoring the terrorism, and it's not a thing in the international space. It's against international norms that any government should pay ransom to them. You are sponsoring them. That's what they see it as. But then looking at the number of children that we adopted, that's where the diplomatic approach needs to come in. You have to have a negotiation, an agreement, something to come in between you and those people in order to get the safety of those children. Let them come back first, because right now you going to do James Bond, it might actually work, but then these people act like out of their senses and they can just do anything to those kids. So I think the government, they did well. Kudos to them on saying it out that no, you're not going to pay, because saying you are going to pay, you are encouraging others. Let me say that this is an act of the Boko Haram. I swore would be at the corner and say, oh wow, 60 million paid, let's plan our own. They will put it on 100 million. So this is actually a nice way to address this issue. But then let's look at some other remedy, like reaching out, having an agreement, and a way to get to that is reaching out to rulers, the local rulers, yes, in the north, in those remote areas. You might see them as nobody, but you can't fathom the power they wield. I know nothing else for one thing, they respect rulership, no matter how small. So those people are from communities, most of them grew up at those places, and they have people that they respect in that community. If the government can actually reach out to those traditional rulers, they can gain easy access to reach a compromise with these people and let the children go. But for ransom, no.
So that means we're taking a cue from the US, who actually will say we do not negotiate with terrorists. We see that in their films, and they are actually even showcasing it in each administration that comes in on board. Now, another question, the traditional rulers, which the Nigerian government actually recognizes, they should also come into play with the kind of power in which they wield, the influence in which they have in that particular domain where they are domiciled. Shouldn't they, on their own part
Yeah.
kick against this amnesty, because a situation whereby you are bringing in a repentant insurgent or repentant terrorist, they like the maxim which is actually said, they say leopards never change their spots. What if that fellow is just using that amnesty as a ploy to actually infiltrate the Nigerian system?
I think that repentant Boko Haram of a thing has been one of the biggest joke made in Nigeria. You can't tell me that a terrorist repented. There are so many people like in the prison wasting. You didn't allow them to repent, but all of a sudden a terrorist can repent in their numbers. And you said that this is a way of even encouraging others to do more. Yes, when we get arrested, you know what we do? We say we have repented, and they will grant us that freedom. And for the rulers like the emirs and the north, I think they are one step ahead, but then you don't know, we underestimate the power of those remote community leaders, because the emir is one person, the hierarchy is still up there, and
There's
he
an
might,
emir, there's a sultan.
he might not have direct access to the locals, but when you get to the community leaders, they know what's going on. You see these people, they know what's going on. Most of them know, they know when an attack is coming, but they are threatened. If you call my name, you are in problem, you, your wife, your children. And they don't talk. Don't assume that they don't know anything. They know. They are being told to shut your mouth. And they shut their mouth because the Nigerian government, you can't promise them anything. If they talk, you don't guarantee them their security. So if you can go down to those community leaders, I think they are the ones, that's where our help can start before we start talking about EMIR and those bigger ones.
Now, judging from the Global Terrorist Index report, will it be right to say that administrations have been favoring this or perpetuating this nepotism ideology? I'm saying so why? Because the Buhari administration, if we recall, terrorism was on the high. As we speak now, Nigeria is currently number 8 in rankings. Why? Because that's on number 8 in rankings.
Okay, I was expecting like 3 or first position, because we are actually
at least we're trying to be minimal on it. Okay. We should even go down further. I think we should pray for our country by the grace of God. Anyway, moving on, not to digress. Now, will nepotism actually have a particular, will nepotism be an instrument or a tool which is used to like frustrate each administration that comes in at the, and Nigerians being at the receiving end? Now, I take a cue from Southwest Nigeria. If you recall, there was a time where these headsmen, not just headsmen, armed headsmen, were actually penetrating the farms with their cattle. Now, it was a case of cattle rustling and also raping of the women, and also at the same time killing the children or the men or abducting them. Why? Because they needed to increase their population size. Now, it's hence the emergence of Amoteko and Ebubeagu, sorry, and just to mention the Benue guys, just to mention a few. Now, the question now is, there were so much killings. Commuters and travelers were even attacked on the highways and byways. Nothing was done. Now, as we speak now, the current chief executive is from the Southwest. Okay. And attacks now or assaults from abductors or kidnappers, banditry is on the rise in the north. Okay. Now, is there an interwoven or intermix of nepotism when it comes to these administrations?
I would say it's not totally true, because we know that the cases of abduction, kidnapping, and terrorism has been, it belongs to the north, it's dominant in the north. So whether it transferred to the southwest at a particular point, it doesn't guarantee is coming from the problem of nepotism. But then that doesn't negate the fact that nepotism is an actual problem. When you putting people in offices that they don't merit because they are related to you or they are your townsmen, your kinsmen, that is one way to achieve unaccountability and ineffectiveness of the security force. People that are not capable, they don't even know what they are doing there. They just want to be there. Your uncle put you there. You just want to occupy the office, but you don't know there's no professionalism. You are just occupying space. Nothing will continue to be. What on the side of it's been a kind of, okay, the president is from the southwest now, then it's transferred to the north. No, it might not be totally true, because this has been a case that it started from the north. It has been residing from the north, maybe transferring down to the southwest. But no, it's not a game they are playing. They are not ready for it.
Now, after 10 years of engagement with the menace of terrorists, bandits, and armed headsmen, the security and armed forces ought to have gained expertise in tackling these criminals. Instead of mass abductions of innocent Nigerians in the north, which continue unabated, wreaking havoc, targeting villagers, motorists on highways, and students from schools for ransom. I'll suggest that the elite, the political elite I mean here, should be the most and worst hit, not innocent Nigerians who are barely striving to fill up their bellies. I'm Odiawa AI, and the show has been Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. With me on the show,
I'm Favor Aya. Do well to subscribe to all our channels on social media. Thank you.